This is the first of two videos I've put together outlining and explaining contour lines and the importance that they can play in assisting you with form definition and conveying your design intent to the viewer. So to help illustrate that, I've got a clear bottle here that I'm drawing contour lines on, basically as section lines, as if they were to pass through, and I'm darkening them up so it's a little bit easier to see on the video. But as you look through the bottle, you actually see the contours that are occurring, even on the bottom where my finger is. And that's important, right? Because that's actually a design detail. In this case, it's functional, it adds strength, but it's also something that you would want to touch as a designer, I think. So I've got a ultra fine permanent ink marker here, and that's all I'm going to be using. I'll be adding some marker later on, and I'm inviting all you guys to do the same just so you can start practicing more. But the critical thing that I want us to stick with for now is drawing freehand without any guides or tools. And so the way I'm starting out here, I'm actually have my minor axis set up, and I've thrown ellipses down the minor axis to help kind of generally define the form. But then I'm going side to side and creating the kind of the symmetrical contour of the bottle itself. And then I'll be accentuating that a little bit more with shade and shadow, some hatch lines, and here I'm adding some additional contour lines to help accentuate the form, to maybe better explain it. I've got some detailing going on here, kind of knurling on the top knob. And then even there, I'm adding a bevel to that little lip of the cap. And again, that could be a soft radius, that could be a bevel. It's really, that's one of your design decisions to make in the process. So here I'm kind of looking through onto the back side of the bottle, looking to see what some of those section lines are doing. And I guess it's really dependent on the audience that you're sketching for, who you're talking to, as to how many contour lines you really need. It can vary from just a few to quite a few. I'll show some examples of that later on. But as you can see right now, I'm working that edge, darkening it up a little bit, throwing the line into the shape around the bottle cap, and I'm adding a little bit more definition. The hatch work here, again, the way that I do this is I keep the palm of my hand kind of resting, or the edge of my palm resting firmly on the desktop, and I'm allowing my fingers to actually control the hatch lines, and so that way they stay very even, or as even as possible. So here I'm adding some definition to the bottom of the bottle. I have kind of a square top as opposed to rounded. And you can see here I'm adding a little bit of thickness. It's a wall thickness to the bottle. So you'll see that in both glass and plastic. Clearly there's some thickness to the wall. And later on, once we get into actually rendering different materials, we can look at how light and shadow, quite frankly, affects that. So I've kind of decided here to go ahead. I'm going to put some liquid in this bottle, which I didn't do on the sketch to the left. And I'm just working very evenly. I have overlapping strokes. I'm trying to get a very even application of the marker. On the top, however, I have it a little bit streaky, intentional. That's for kind of conveying maybe a reflection or refraction of light off the top surface and to distinguish it from the sides. And here I'm kind of over exaggerating, but maybe there's kind of a sparkling water or sparkling liquid on the inside, so I'm throwing in a couple of bubbles, and that can help just convey the materials or the contents of the bottle. And so now I've moved on to adding just a little bit of gray. This, I believe, is a number 3 Artist Loft. And so a little bit on the sides and those hatched areas just really helps accentuate the form a little bit. And then finally, I'm just going to use a little bit of white Prismacolor pencil to go in, and I can accentuate the bubbles. I can go in In just a moment, I'll be adding some number 3 gray to the wall thickness, and then going back on top of that with the pencil. Here, it's a darker, obviously, marker used for, I believe it's a number 5 maybe, or 6. And I just wanted to throw that in for contrast. That's, remember, wherever you have the most contrast on the page is where your eye will be going. So that little drop shadow is just a means of drawing attention and emphasizing that one particular sketch. It places emphasis on that object. So that's kind of what I was looking for. So again, freehand. If I wanted a higher fidelity sketch, I would probably go in with some French curves and really clean this up. But I want it to be a quick hand sketch. You know, I don't want to have the time investment. This might be a sketch that I show to the design team, not necessarily executives or a client in a formal client meeting. This is more of a preliminary, almost a slightly refined thumbnail sketch is really what that is. So the Prisma, the white Prisma can go in, help clean things up. It can knock the dark gray wall thickness back a little bit. So now that you've seen how contour lines can really accentuate the form and define the form better, it's going to take your two-dimensional drawings and really transform them and give them a three-dimensional element to them that will really help the communication with your audience. And I would also encourage you to go down and get yourself a clear bottle and draw the contour lines on it and kind of see how they react. It'll really help kind of solidify things for you, I think. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next video.